Thank you, Natasha, for having me as one of your presenters for this year's Tea Party, Power of the Push. I truly appreciate you for selecting me to inspire everyone today. Here with my story, okay? I met Natasha, it was 5 years, Natasha. It was 5 years ago when she did the decor for our pool party. It was beautiful, it was laid out, but not many people showed up. It was our first one. But it was lit though, you know, so we ran it back and it was dope, okay? Nevertheless, it was such a pleasure working with you, and she left a lasting impression on me because she was such a sweet and genuine person, as y'all can see, you know, today, and she was a boss. So that was hard to come by, and again, thank you, Natasha, for having me. So I just want to bring some inspo to you ladies today, and y'all look good, okay? You're welcome, Mom. So my name is Selena Shoemaker. I stand before you today to share my story of resilience, courage, and the unwavering power of the push. My journey, marked by unforeseen challenges and unexpected turns, has taught me valuable lessons about perseverance, strength, and the transformative impact of pushing together, paths forward, up, and out. I want to ask you ladies a question. How many of you ladies have been burned? Not theoretically, but been burned by like a show of hands. Like you touched something hot, okay, you got burned. Okay, that's enough. Okay, now imagine that sensation on multiple parts on your body and having to be rushed to the hospital, because that's what happened to me. And guess what? I'm still burning today as I speak. Crazy. On September 4th, 2023, around 4 p.m., while everyone was enjoying their Labor Day festivities, I was being rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital's burn unit. It's the #1 trauma center in Georgia, so shout out to Grady. So what happened, you ask? Well, let me tell you. I have a company called Liquid Loud, where I sell adult beverages, mocktails, Delta THC drinks, and infused lemonades and products, including butter, sugar, etc. I'll get into that later. While trying a new method of making my products, I caught on fire. It's surreal because I was pouring the liquid in the pan. On the stove, I heard a voice say, "Step back," and I thank God I did. It was actually an explosion. I didn't realize it because it happened so fast. I panicked and I screamed for my sister Serena to come help me while I was on fire. When I realized she wasn't coming, I went into survival mode. My only thought was, I'm not burning this house down. I ended up putting out the fire after 30 minutes of literally fighting for my life. Standing in the kitchen, out of breath with only my underclothes on, I was drained and confused. Then I felt a burning sensation on my right arm, and I looked down and I couldn't believe what I saw. My arm was white, no brown. I started going into shock, but still, I was moving around the house trying to clean up the mess before going to wake up Rena and tell her what happened. I remember repeating to myself, "Lena, you're okay. Lena, you're okay," while trying to calm my nerves, not cry and cool off at the same time. My body felt really hot. I was burning from the inside out, and the pain was getting worse by the second. I was feeling faint, but I kept pushing myself, even as the pain intensified. By the time I made it upstairs for the second time, my feet were starting to burn, and my body was getting weak. It took everything in me, but I pushed through. I burst into Serena's room and told her that I needed to go to urgent care and asked if she could take me. She jumped up, and from the look on her face, I knew I was in bad shape. But she didn't have her glasses on, but her mouth was wide open as she tried to remain calm. She attempted to dress me, but I kept screaming out in pain. Realizing urgent care wasn't gonna be enough, she ended up calling 911. The firefighters arrived quickly, and I could tell by the look on their faces that it was serious. I stayed at Grady for 12 days. I've never been hospitalized before, so everything was new to me, and every day I was ready to go home. Ladies, don't get burned. It's a horrible experience. I wouldn't recommend it. 0 out of 10 if you ask me. Ghetto. But seriously, from the time I got to the hospital until the time I left, I was over it. There were some dark times, and all I could do was stare for the most part. I couldn't put into words what I was feeling or how I was feeling, but I knew I wanted to be around people that truly loved and cared about me and had my best interest at heart. I thank God for Rena. She stayed by my side the entire time, checking on me, helping me, feeding me, and protecting me. She only left when I made her leave when I went to surgery for my skin graft. When she came back, she brought a small speaker with her, her biggest suitcase, a cooler, and food. She was ready. I remember looking at her crazy and asking why she brought all that stuff. I honestly thought I was going to be there for 2 days. Silly me. I asked her, why you came back so fast after surgery? She said, I went home, the dogs weren't there, you wasn't there, it felt empty. My home is where you are. That really touched me and lifted my spirits. I realized I wasn't in this alone. God had us. We listen to R&B, gospel, and blues every day. We snack. Rena snacked more than me. She was truly my protector and advocate. When I couldn't speak up for myself a few times, she had to get the nurses together, but they soon learned Rena wasn't the one to play with about me. I never had to fully depend on someone to feed, bathe, wipe me as an adult. I was completely helpless. God put Rena there to stand up for me, and I'm forever grateful for that. I remember whispering to one of my friends who was visiting me that Rena had to wipe me, and I didn't know she was listening. And Rena said, and I'll do it again. She took care of me. Just to give you an idea of how severe my burns were, I had first, second, and third degree burns on my right forearm, right hand, both of my feet, the upper right side of my hip, and I also have nerve damage in my right arm. And I'm still healing. I'll be fully healed physically September 4th. Thank you. Learning how to walk again was one of the biggest hurdles I've had to date. Every move I made was extremely painful, but I pushed. If I walked 5 steps, I was out of breath, and I was considered healthy. After my skin graft surgery, my pain tripled. It was excruciating, but I pushed. Even getting up to use the restroom took 30 to 45 minutes. From here to here, 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes more, and I'm not exaggerating. Rena called our older sister, Chavette, she's a nurse practitioner, to the hospital to check on my wounds to make sure I was okay because I was having a really hard time. I was freaking out. But my family and friends, they all came through for me, and it really meant a lot. You gotta understand, I'm very independent. So having to fully rely on people to take care of me was a hard pill to swallow, but I had no choice. I'm just glad they were willing to help. Being in a hospital, especially on the burn unit, is no joke. The silence was so loud. The floor was eerily quiet. I was depressed and antsy, and I was in so much pain. As a burn care patient, I had to get my wounds cleaned daily. Wound care is not for the weak. Whenever the nurses would walk in the room with those pink buckets, I couldn't help but to start to hyperventilate and cry uncontrollably. Because I knew I was about to endure more pain. The only way I can describe it is getting skinned alive every day. And I had to take it or risk getting an infection. A few times I wanted to give up because the pain was so horrendous. I thought I would black out and even stop breathing one time on purpose, but Rena snapped me out of it. My body just went numb, and I couldn't even scream at times. Thank you, Rena. I felt everything. This was every single day, screaming and crying out in pain and agony. Rena did her best to calm me down, but as much as she could, she was shielding me, holding me, kissing my face as much as possible. It was all I had to hold on to in that moment. I was grateful, and it helped me. Thank you, Rena. I'll never forget what you did for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead. For years now, I lived my life on social media. And just because I had gotten burned didn't mean it was time to disappear. I had work to do. I decided to push past and burst through the barriers. I made up my mind that even though I was going through this really painful ordeal, I would document the process. I honestly wanted to look back to see how far I've come in due time, of course. Now, nowadays, people want to only show the good on social media. Need this? Right here? Okay. Like life won't hit you with a curveball. Being completely transparent, I was scared to do it because people were so used to seeing me as strong and determined. Now, I was still strong-willed and determined. Ask Rena and the nurses. They'll tell you. Physically, though, I was weak. Mentally and emotionally, I was all over the place. However, I chose to show my truth no matter how ugly it got. I pushed forward. Showing people what you're going through so they can see it for themselves is powerful, especially in real time. I didn't think it was a big deal, and I didn't care. I had a story to tell, and I'm glad I did. Documenting my journey served as a poignant metaphor that the challenges we all face in life. I took that painful situation and turned it into an opportunity to demonstrate that although trials will come, God is in control. Little did I know how my journey would inspire people who were enduring their own battles with trauma, showing them that resilience and faith can lead to a remarkable outcome. It gets real when you're staring up at the ceiling in the middle of the night trying to figure out what happened. The woulda, coulda, shoulda start rolling in. However, I refused to dwell on it. It happened, now how do I pivot? That was my thought process. I chose to push together. Pushed my pride to the side and had Rena post a video on social media asking for donations because I physically could not work and my savings wouldn't cut it. We let people know I needed help. It was hard, but I had no choice. However, it worked out because the donations came pouring in. God was blessing us like crazy. And I say us because Rena was going through her own battle, including not getting paid for time off and still showing up for me every day. We received thoughtful words, prayers, and personal stories from people sharing their own experiences with burns and recovery. It was an eye-opener. Who would have thought that my willingness to be open and vulnerable encouraged people to find strength in their own struggles? Today, when people see me, they often say, I can't believe you went through all that. Well, shoot, me neither. I was incredibly fortunate to have a great support system who stepped up when I needed it the most. I didn't have to worry about food, bills, my dogs, I love my dogs, or anything except healing. It was like every seed I've ever sown in life came back full circle. I was so thankful. God was showing out. I received so many DMs from people I grew up with, did business with, friends of family, friends of friends, strangers, church members, and even the best ex-boyfriend from 20 years ago reached out to me and prayed for me. And that prayer was good, too. I didn't know he could pray like that. I was an emotional wreck my entire hospital stay. I cried the whole time because I was ready to go. When I was finally discharged, I cried again because I thought they were abandoning me. I told Rena, the doctor kicking me out, and she said, finally, let's go. I got you. You'll be all right. I'm tired. When we got home, I wouldn't walk in the kitchen and moved into Rena's room for another 2 weeks, sleeping beside her, trying to adjust to life as a burn survivor. I wasn't comfortable. Something had changed in me, and I felt off. People call it trauma. I just know I'm not the same person that went into the hospital. Taking showers became a 2.5, 3-hour task for me because I insisted on doing my own wound care. Rena helped me at first, but I wanted my independence. I had to figure out life after being burned. It was personal. I had to shower in a chair for 2 weeks after being released, and I hated it. Every night I sat there crying with the water running on me. wondering how I would pick up the pieces. I was very emotional. Pandora's Kirk Franklin radio became a staple in my shower routine. That was my praise and worship time, but also a time to reflect and think. I felt like I was going crazy. My world had stopped, and I didn't know how to cope. You see, I'm a busybody. For a person that's used to going and doing, then all of a sudden your world stopped, and there's nothing you can do about it, it does something to your mental. I didn't know how to sit, but I was forced to sit, and that was a problem for me. I didn't know how to rest. It was an adjustment. And when I went out, people looked at me and said, "What's wrong with her?" Because I had a walker and a handicap sticker. See, with my burns, as you can see, you can't see them. They were covered. Even now, they're covered. When people came to visit, I looked fine to them until I tried to stand up and walk. Then you could see the pity in their eyes and when they realized how serious I was burned. It's crazy. I never felt sorry for myself. I was too determined to get back on my feet. I didn't have time to sulk. Honestly speaking, I was in a better position than most people in the burn unit because I had visitors, and Rena was there with me 24/7. There were people on the unit dying every day from their burns or getting infected and having to face amputation. Some had been there for months with no one to visit them. I was blessed. However, I was a bit stressed after being released because 12 days in the hospital is a long time. That meant I had a huge bill coming. That bill was $315,088.82. Thank God I had insurance. I only had to pay $162.86. Then 2 weeks after getting out of the hospital, we found out our baby sister Jackie died. I can't lie, it was hard. Here it was 1 month after my near-death accident and my little sister was gone. I had no words. Trying to process her death while going through all of this physical anguish felt surreal. I cried all that night. Even though I was on bed rest, I couldn't rest. So I ended up writing a letter to Jackie that night and read it to her at her funeral. We made sure we sent her off properly. Although Jackie had passed, God had still blessed us because she had come home. We didn't get a call from the police about a Jane Doe, a missing person, or worse. She died in her sleep, peacefully. And you can't tell me that wasn't a blessing. I was always trying something new, even before being burned. That's how I started my business, Liquid Loud. Being a bartender of 15 years, I said one day I have a drink brand, and I do. Not to toot my own horn, but my drinks are the bomb. And I've been in business for 10 years because I'm passionate about what I do. Who all had lemonade? That was me. And plus, I put a little something in your totes. So check your totes. You have infused, and then you have adult beverages. One is a black top, the adult beverage, and the white top is infused. If you don't want the infused. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Adjusting at home from being in the hospital was a struggle. I had a hard time sleeping and was prescribed pills for depression. I remember the doctor telling me at my third visit that they had to take me off opioids for my pain. Unbeknownst to them, I wasn't taking them. I was using my Liquid Loud tinctures instead. Although my brand consisted of adult beverages in 2020, I added another layer and started making Delta 8 infused lemonades, tinctures, butters, sugars, etc. They were a hit. Now I'm able to change lives through my products and my services because I pushed and I made the decision to do the work no matter what. I say all this to say, push up. I don't know what God has for me. All I know is I'm letting him use me. If I hadn't chosen to share my story, I wouldn't be standing here today. I'm grateful that God allowed me to see the seeds that I have sown into people come back full circle. I'm still healing, and I'm learning to be patient with my body. I even started back bartending. Come check me out at Cafe Social House in Mableton. My mama always preached the golden rules since we were children. Treat people how you want to be treated. And I say, you get what you put out. So do good and be good to people, because them tables will turn. I remember telling Rena, I'm going to speak one day and inspire people. I didn't know that I'd be speaking from a burn survivor standpoint. Nevertheless, a win is a win. In closing, being burned has shifted my mindset to another level. I'm living my life with a sense of gratitude and intention. Ladies, there may be someone out there that can benefit from telling your story or doing the thing that you're scared to do. Dreams don't have deadlines. I repeat, dreams don't have deadlines. Push out. Bet on yourself. Step outside of your comfort zone. Even if you have to do it alone, I did. I did it scared. I did it broke. I did it without a plan. I did it tired. I did it with a team, without a team. I did it wrong. I did it right. I did it with tears in my eyes, but I did it. I pushed. I've had my ups and downs, and I learned a lot of lessons. However, I never gave up. My name is Selena Shoemaker. I stand here today as an entrepreneur, a burn survivor, a child of God, and now a speaker. I am fearless. I am love. I'm an inspiration. I'm a force to be reckoned with. I want to leave you all with this. Sometimes God takes us on a journey that we didn't know we needed to bring us everything we ever wanted. Trust the plan. Keep pushing. Thank you.